The story of Albert Cashier is one that genuinely interests me. Basically, this dude fought in a lot of stuff in the Western theater. A lot of it, alongside one of my ancestors who fought in the same theater in the 30th Indiana. Another reason why this whole thing with this Albert Cashier is so interesting to me, the story is very important to me because he's transgender. He was born a female. One of my best friends right now, he was born female. One of my boys is transgender. I ain't gonna name who he is, but he is one of the coolest freaking people I know. So you know what? This one goes out to you, man. Love you to death. Gonna open up a cold one with you after, your recovery period's done. Albert Cashier was born as Jenny Hodgers in Ireland, so, not only did that interesting little, transgender bit come out, also, he's Irish. Basically, even after his service in the Civil War, he continued to, live as a man, so I'd say this is definitely a case of a historic transgender person. He he moved to America. Not much is known about his early life, and a lot of his account was given when he was suffering through dementia. So poor fella. On August 6th, 1862, the Civil War is raging on. The Union has been given defeat after defeat. Except in the West, Ulysses S. Grant is doing his thing, being the absolute legend he is. But he joins in the 95th Illinois Infantry. He was the shortest soldier in the regiment and kept mostly to himself. But he was accepted as one of, he was one of the men, one of the, one of us. One of the men carrying the flag, Union forever, hurrah. And he was an extremely good soldier. His battle record is absolutely astonishing, by the way. He was a part of the Army of Tennessee and fought in over 40 engagements. How do you survive that, It was absolutely brutal. So basically, he fought at Vicksburg. You know, the the actual turning point of the Civil War. This is a hotly debated historical topic, but the battle that gave the Union the Mississippi, he was in that. And he fought at Nashville. He fought in the battle above the mountains in Kennesaw Mountain. And then he fought in Jonesboro and in Georgia. He was being captured, and he did escape by overpowering a prison guard, which is, legendary. He served his full 3-year enlistment with his regiment until they were all mustered out, which means, service ended, in 1865. In his regiment, 289 men died. After the war, he returned to Illinois, where he settled in. Listen, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, so I deeply apologize to Sonneman, where he continued, his identity as a man, and worked different jobs like, farmhand, church janitor, cemetery worker, and stream lamplighter. He also voted when a time, people of his birth did not have the right, and he collected his veteran's pension. So I would argue that this is definitely a case of a transgender man in the 1860s and onward. But in 1910, he was hit by a car and broke his leg, which, he was discovered. The hospital agreed not to divulge that, so, props to that hospital, and he was sent to a soldiers and sailors home in Quincy, Illinois. He remained a resident of the home until 1913 when, dementia struck, and he was sent to a hospital for the insane where they discovered his original, and forced him to wear a dress. So, the press got a hold of the story, and soon everybody knew that this man was born as, Jenny Hodgers. So you'd figure, that's the end of the story, right? Well, basically, you're attacking one of the boys. They were initially surprised at this, but then, who then? You just ticked off a whole lot of Civil War veterans who fought in over 40 battles. They protested his treatment at the hospital. They supported Cashier. In the end, Cashier definitely was one of the boys. When Cashier died on October 10th, he was buried in full uniform and was given a tombstone inscribed with his male identity and military service. The reason why this story, I believe, should be told is due to the fact that this history is just being uncovered, like on my blog. I posted about Frederick the Great of Prussia. You know, he was gay. He was a gay man, a gay king, a great king, and two. This kind of stuff should be brought to light for people of this identity to say it's not recent. We didn't choose this. We were born like this. There's a whole level of history that is not being shared that needs to be shared. Cashier, Frederick the Great. So many names in history need to be brought to light so that people with, transgender people, gay people can look to the past and say, we've been around. You can't say it's recent. Look at these people. We fought, we bled, we led, and we've been here this whole time. This is a rather short one, and one that's definitely spur of the moment. But you know what? I want to send this to my buddy. Laters.